Hi Gunners, hard to put it into words, but just wanted to say thank you so much to every one of you for the support, the love, and for being there with us all the way from start to the end. And we did it, we finally did it. I'm so proud of everyone, and yeah, thank you once again for all the love, and let's prepare well for next weekend now.
It's over, so we put our hands up like a sea roller.
Yeah, special moment. Yeah, these fans are so special, man. It's a long season. You go through so much along the way. So to reach the end of the marathon and be the winners, it's a special type of feeling. So yeah, we'll enjoy this for sure.
2 years and 2.
What about Mikel Arteta as your manager? How much does he deserve to be able to share this moment with you all?
Yeah, he deserves everything. He's done a brilliant job, and he's been here a long time now, and for sure he deserves everything.
He's helped shape the culture of this whole club, really. The way we think, the way we operate, and yeah, massive credit to him because he's worked so hard, and I'm just grateful that we were able to do it for him.
And after the match, I spoke to Mikel Arteta. Mikel, congratulations. Finally, you get that moment. You get your hands on the Premier League trophy, you give it a spin, and you raise it in front of the Arsenal fans.
It's been an incredible moment. As we all know, it's been a special journey. We had to really fight for it. But I think the team, the club, and our supporters fully deserve it.
Tell me about this team, tell me about this squad, because I saw them giving you the bumps. There's clearly a great relationship there. How much have they given you this season?
Everything. I mean, I think it's going to be very difficult to have again a group like this one. And they really made me enjoy my profession every single day. When you see the connection they have with our staff, with our people, it's because how good they are as human beings, first of all. And then they have shown an incredible, I think, connection with everybody, an unbelievable level of commitment when things were difficult, and a lot of courage as well, because with all the noise and all the expectation that we had around us right from the beginning after 3 years, which is very understandable, I think we have used us as a guide to lead us to the moment that we are right now and win the Premier League.
When you talk about the noise, you've been as consistent as Manchester City in terms of points over 4 seasons, and this is the season in which you get to lift the trophy. At that point where you had a spell where you were beaten by City, where people were starting to doubt you, did the fact that you got over that hurdle, did that answer those critics, do you think?
I think those critics are necessary, and I doubted myself as well. I think you have to be very self-critical, and at some point I thought maybe I had the talent, the ability, the capacity to bring them all the way to where we are right now as a club and as a team. But maybe somebody else has to come and finish the job. And that's normal. But we find a way to do it. I think we fully deserve it because, again, in the manner that we've done it, and I'm obviously extremely happy for the club, the staff, and especially for the incredible players that we have.
And Mikel, this season could get even better. There's a Champions League final to come.
And that's a new opportunity to write a new story in our history, and let's enjoy tonight, have some time with the family, that they've been the engine of everything that we do, and tomorrow we start to prepare the final to win it.
When he talked about the noise and talked about doubting himself at times this season, but they've managed to do it. They've managed to get their hands on the Premier League trophy. There has been a lot of noise and there's been criticism about their style of play. What kind of champions do you think they are?
Champions are champions, and I have actually really liked how they've played this season. And yeah, you can look at it and everyone now wants to play the way Pep Guardiola plays his team play. But he's tried that for the last 3 years and he hasn't won the league. And he's changed the recruitment. They've gone more bigger team, more physical team, and they don't concede goals. They're solid. They've got players scoring goals from all over the pitch, and they fully deserve to win the Premier League.
And look at the importance of this Arsenal defence. It's not only the best in the Premier League, which would be expected maybe of the champions, it's the best across Europe's top 5 leagues.
I mean, those numbers are staggering. Shots on target face, an average 2.4. That's all. I mean, when you look at the job that Mikel has done, and he mentioned the noise and doubting himself, but I think he deserves great credit for sticking with it. And we've spoken 15 or 20 minutes ago about the recruitment, how it hasn't worked for other teams. I think the recruitment for them in terms of how they wanted to play this season has been absolutely spot on. And every decision they made last summer in bringing players in, Eze, Madueke, Hincapié, Gyökeres, Mosquera, Zubamendi, Norgard, all of these players have played and it's worked for them. And I also think it's telling that after that Man City result, that's when he would have been himself, but then for the reaction after that, because the stress and the pressure that they've been through for all season and the noise they've had to put up with to get over that and to come back from that. Because you've got a choice after that defeat at Manchester City. Which way do they go? Do they buckle? Do they fold? Or do they roll their sleeves up and say, right, we have to do something special in between now and the end of the season? And they did that. And for that, they've been the best team, and I think they deserve huge credit for that.
And maybe at the time we put too much emphasis on that Manchester City result, because actually Arsenal's result against what you might think of as their direct competitors for the title haven't been great this season. If you look at the top 5 against each other, Manchester United and Villa are the teams that have actually done best. City are much better than Arsenal, and only Liverpool are lower than them. But they haven't been the games where this title has been won. It's been the games where it's against teams who are in the bottom half of the table, Wayne. Yeah,
they've been more consistent in facing the teams in the lower half of the table, but I think consistency, I think the Premier League this year hasn't been as good as it has been in previous years, and that's not taking anything away from Arsenal. They fully deserve to win, but they've been the best, they've been the most consistent team, and when you're consistent, you normally win the league.
Word on Crystal Palace as well, because this is Oliver Glasner's last ever season at Crystal Palace, and they're going to end it with a Europa Conference League final. Giving
them great memories. The FA Cup, the Community Shield, and they've got a chance again to win the Conference League on Wednesday. So what a couple of years it's been for them. It's been unbelievable. And he's played a huge part in that.
I'm joined by some very familiar faces. Matt Holland, Leroy Rossignol are here to go through all of the talking points of basically talking Arsenal and celebrating their Premier League win. Are they worthy winners, Matt?
Yeah, I think they are this season. They've been knocking on the door, haven't they, for a number of seasons. They've finished second the last 3 years, and they've come really close. This year, they've managed to get over the line. There was a lot of question marks about their style of play, maybe how they've won it. Set pieces have been really crucial to them this season. They've won it because of their defence. I think David Raya in goal, Gabriel and Saliba at centre-back, Declan Rice in midfield, that spine of the team, their best team without the ball. At times, maybe not the best free-flowing football team that we've seen in the Premier League, but I think they're worthy winners, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so as well. But, I mean, I think this is largely down to one of the reasons as well, Leroy, as we just look at the squad depth that they've built up over Mikel Arteta's 6.5 seasons now at the club.
Absolutely, they've won it because Mikel Arteta has been backed by the board. And, you know, the rule that we kind of abided by is 2 quality players for each position, and that applies there with three strikers, because, you know, I don't think he was 100% sure about Gyökeres coming in, but Jesus and Havertz getting fit really supplemented that front line really well. But it's a tremendous squad, and that's what's got them over
the other thing
line.
you'd say about this squad is that all these players, or the majority of these players, can play in different positions as well. You're saying about 2 players for every position. Timber and White can both play centre-back. We've seen Mosquera and Nketiah playing at full-back positions. Miles Lewis-Skelly played in midfield. Calafiori can play at centre-back. I'm not saying Raya can play up front, but the majority of these players can play in lots of different positions. Eza could play out wide if needed be. So, I mean, 2 players for every position, but every single one of those can, or the majority of them, can play in a different position as well.
Yes, they can, but I think we'd always agree that the core, the spine of the team is really important. And I think that David Raya is crucial. And I think he's been outstanding this season. And I just want to show you some of the big moments that he's actually produced, because we all know you need to have a really good goalkeeper to be successful, to win the Premier League. But this guy really has stepped his game up. Look at the foot movement, look at his anticipation and his patience in making these saves. And each one of these saves are actually match-winning saves.
Do you know, Mikel Arteta deserves a lot of credit, because when David Raya came in, there's a lot of people raising their eyebrows as to why do you need David Raya? You've got a really good goalkeeper in Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale was a decent goalkeeper, wasn't he? And has proved so. He's played for England. He's been in the Premier League for many years. But David Raya's come in and just been that extra special.
Exactly. And we're looking at his saves, but his all-round game is absolutely top quality. And these happened in games where Arsenal dominated, and a period of the games where it was crucial. These were match-winning saves. These were at the end of games, was so important. And his agility. I mean, he's not the biggest of goalkeepers, but he's so agile.
You just look at his footwork in each one of these clips, in each one of these saves. We always think that everything goalkeepers do is with their hands, but it's not. The footwork in some of these saves, and as you're talking, his agility, his ability to move positions, make these saves, is crucial. And yeah, I mean, that was a huge call. When you think you've got a top goalkeeper in Ramsdale, and you go and surprise everybody and bring in this guy, I think we were all raised eyebrows at first. But I think we all understand exactly why he made that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his stats speak for themselves, doesn't it? I mean, he's won the Golden Glove now, again, this season. You're looking at the most clean sheets in a season this year, 50 appearances. He had 28 clean sheets. It's an incredible record. I'm actually a little bit surprised when I look at that and see Petr Cech there at only 28 clean sheets. In my mind, I just think that he would be the highest of all of those. Edwin van der Sar's the man there. But David Raya this season, I think, has been exceptional. Built on the defence. As I say, it helps when you've got Gabriel and Saliba winning everything ahead of them. You've got Declan Rice breaking things up in midfield as well. But David Raya, some of those saves we've seen have been terrific.
Well, let's talk about that defence. Let's talk about that defensive unit, Leroy, because you, in particular, are very impressed with how they defend both boxes.
Yeah, both boxes are so important, but that defensive one is really important. I just want to highlight them here and just look how close they are together. And they work so well together, and they defend their box brilliantly. You see the position, the great body position. You're talking about body position, just always aware and just defending the middle of the goal. I know it sounds silly, but it's so important. These centre-halves defend that area of the pitch. And when they make a mistake, I just want to stop. It's about reactions. Gabriel's out of the picture. David Raya's out of his box. Who's the one who reacts and gets back to clear it? And that's just brilliant anticipation, and just as good as the defending as a tackle on around the halfway line. Again here, I'm just going to stop it here. Gabriel, when your partner's in trouble, you need someone to come up and make up for it and sort it out. And he does. And he leaves this guy all on his own because he goes and deals with the problem. And he does it.
He's got that recovery pace, hasn't he?
Gabriel's out of position, I'll get across, I'll deal with that, not a problem.
Well, I would say, I think they've got a mix of everything, because they do have the pace, they do have anticipation, they are very brave, they want to go and get their bodies in the way. And I think, as a duo, as a partnership, I think they cover a lot of bases.
Complement each other really well, don't they? I don't think you'll find anyone that wants to stop a goal more than Gabriel at centre-back.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's 6 and the 5. As we were brought up with the 6 and the 5, the 6 was the one that go and head it, the 5 was a little bit more creative, but they both love defence.
Could they go down as the best partnership that the league's ever had? We always talk about the combinations, don't we? And just to show you the stats this season, to show you how much better they've been than everybody else. Do they enter the conversation of greatest centre-half pairing?
Well, when you look at that, they've only started together 26 times. 15 times they've kept a clean sheet. That's an incredible record. Ferdinand and Vidic probably would be the two that stick out. Terry and Carvalho at Chelsea. they're sort of just jumping out at me, maybe ahead of Gabriel and Saliba at the moment. They've just won one Premier League title so far. In 2-3 years' time, we might be having a conversation. I'll be saying Gabriel and Saliba have been the best by.
Yeah, they have to win multiple titles, you say.
I think so. I think Ferdinand and Vidic, I think John Terry, Carvalho, those two pairings maybe just slightly ahead at the moment.
I agree with you, but they're very young. They're very young. Only a couple of seasons they've been playing together as that number one choice. And but you know, they're both at a good age. They can go on for a very long time.
Yeah. And just to move on, just to show you how their XG against compares this season.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the best that Arsenal have had.
Yeah.
Only 0.74 expected goals against. They actually conceded 27 goals, so pretty much where they're supposed to be. Manchester City, quite impressive what they've done before, because I think we talk about Arsenal being a very good defensive team, but
it helps when you have 80% of the ball.
Exactly.
to stop the opposition, doesn't it? And, you know, in those periods, Man City dominated. We've seen this season with Pep Guardiola a slight change in his style of play, actually. He's been a bit more direct this season, whereas in the past, we've seen Man City totally dominate the ball.
And the thing with Arsenal, they've been able to see games out.
Yeah.
You know, when they've been a goal up, they say, OK, let's just go back. Let's go back in the low block and we'll just see it out. And you know what? They've been more than comfortable.
Yeah.
They never even looked like they're going to concede. You know, I know David Raya's come up with some important saves, but that back four have been absolutely immense.
Yeah,
they have, and I think we're showing how they've defended. But ultimately, I think if everybody or anybody is remembering Arsenal from this season, I think it's going to be set pieces, Matt. I think so. I think that's been a dominant factor in this season.
A lot of their goals have come from set pieces. 25 goals they've scored from set pieces, 19 of them from corners over the course of the season. You know, that's 19. It's half the games. That's an incredible record, isn't it? And they've scored all types of different goals from set pieces as well. I've got the first one. This is a familiar setup.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the back post. Just to highlight them. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them at the back post. I think this is Saliba in that position as well. But there's no one ahead of the near post. You've got the edge of the box ringed as well. So if they do try and break, at least you've got a couple of people there to win it on the edge of the box. I'm going to play this. I'll play the first one through, then we'll watch it again on the replay. But they attack the ball so well. They run right across the goalkeeper's line of vision. I think it's Jurrien Timber who wins this first one, heads it into the corner. We'll watch it again now. There's the familiar setup. We've got them at the back. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all make that run across the front of the goalkeeper to block his vision. You've got 2 on the edge of the box, as I said. We'll play it on slowly. By the time that ball comes in, that's the trigger for the corner to be taken. When I stop it there, you've got nobody now, this side of the penalty spot. Yeah. They've all gone across that near post. It's so difficult to defend. So many bodies in the way. Who's marking? Who's picking who up? Can the goalkeeper come? Well, he can't come through all those bodies. Play it on. Brilliant header from Jurrien Timber. This time it's a different setup. So, as I said, ring in the box. They had 2 on the edge of the box last time. Now, all of a sudden, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the edge of the box. And it's a different setup. So you haven't got the 4 at the... I mean, I don't know if this confused Newcastle, but it's something different, isn't it? Again, we'll play this one through. Who is it again? I think it's Gabriel. Wins it ahead of the goalkeeper. But if I stop it again, so you've got the 4 on the edge of the box. One of them makes his way. I think it's Lewis Skelly, is it? That comes in to the box. You've got people who attack it. I said no one in the Premier League attacks the ball better than Gabriel.
No.
I'll play it on slowly. This is the 90th minute against Newcastle to win the game. I'll just stop it there. Look at this position here. Lewis Skelly, if this misses everyone, he's the one who's going to pick it up at the end, behind everybody else. But nobody attacks the ball better than Gabriel.
And what the important position in all these set pieces,
someone on the keeper.
Someone on the keeper, stopping the goalkeeper coming and using their hand. And it's not a foul because he's just stood there, and he's not impeding the keeper. He stood there, and that was so important to how good they were.
I think what else we sort of need to touch on, but it's always crucial, is the delivery.
Yeah.
Delivery.
I think that's a really good point.
Outstanding.
Yeah, Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka generally are the takers, aren't they? In-swingers into that 6-yard box, pile out everybody in the 6-yard box, and then they attack it so well. Gabriel wins it. Huge goal. This time it's a free kick rather than a corner. We'll play it on. I'll play the first one through again.
Okay, but they're looking at every option, where the ball's going to drop in these first
it's the familiar setup, so it's the bus stop routine again. There they all are, 4 of them. They're going to make that run. across the line, so it's really difficult because they're all facing this way. They don't know when they're coming either, do they?
It's really interesting, Matt, because when we were doing these games live, the opposition seemed to panic.
Yeah.
And they always sit and they think, OK, they've got a goal-scoring opportunity. What I want to do is look at Mark Gahey, how quickly he drops because he's in a panic. Because we always, as defenders, you say, look, hold the line as long as you can.
I'll tell you what, let's play it slowly.
Play it slowly.
If
Just
we
look
play
at
it slowly,
look at the panic.
So there comes the line, right there. So that's the line now.
Yeah.
So you just said it, haven't you? Let's get the offside line. So he's all of a sudden he's taken that line, 2 or 3 yards deeper than everybody else, and allowed them to get the run on it. They actually win the first contact. I'll criticise Adam Wharton, can't you? Because he falls asleep.
Yeah.
He doesn't do his defensive job. We'll play it on. So they win the first contact. Wharton falls asleep. Who's quickest to react? On the edge of the box, picking up those bits. It's Eza.
Well, I'll ask you why. Is this something that is in Arsenal's DNA, or is this good coaching? Do they work on this all the time? How have they become so potent at this?
I think Mr. Yova wants a statue. the old set piece coach. He's done such a good job, hasn't he?
Yeah, I know they go to set piece coach, but Matt, you got to have people who want to go and attack the ball, and that's the key.
100%.
How many of their players in their team want to go and attack the ball? We talked about the delivery. You're absolutely right, but it's also timing as well, because it's almost like a rehearsed dance where they all know exactly.
The arm goes up, they set off, ball comes in. Yeah,
ends up in the back of the net.
Everything's like clockwork, isn't it?
Absolutely brilliant.
We'll play this first one through again.
And you have to give them credit because they came up with something that made a massive difference their season at crucial times. Start of this season, every time they got a set piece, the crowd got excited. They knew something was going to happen.
This one's different in the fact that Gabriel, I think it is here, isn't in the bus stop now. Yeah. He's not in the queue. He's not making that run across. He's already starting in the middle. We'll play it on slowly because he makes. You talk about trying to get some space, trying to get some room. How can you get away from somebody? Look at Tielemans. He's fighting Tielemans. He's asking the referee, look, he's giving me a push. Gives him one little shove. Gives him another shove. Gives him another shove. And now all of a sudden he's in a great position because he's now blocking the goal. You said about blocking the goalkeeper. Now he's blocking the goalkeeper. He's got Tielemans away from him. Really difficult for the goalkeeper now. Play it on. So the trigger comes, there they go, off they go, at the back. They make that run across the near post, ball comes in. Emi Martinez can never get anywhere near the ball because he's fighting Gabriel to get there, tries to give him a shove to get him away, but no, he makes an absolute howler of it, and it's another goal for Arsenal from a corner. They've done that brilliantly all season.
I have to say, I was so impressed with this when they started going short.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, well, you've had so much reward from sticking it in the box, but they so that they just weren't a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And I did this game, and I'm saying, look, why don't you just put it in the box? Why don't you put it in the box? And then this happened, which was absolutely outstanding.
I think you're right. We'll play it through again. Short corner. I think before this game, I think this was the third one of the day.
Yeah.
Tried two, hadn't come off. I mean, it's a wonderful strike from Eza. It really is. Top draw. But everyone's expecting that delivery, aren't they? You're expecting that delivery to come right in on top of your goalkeeper. That's where you're expecting the ball to come.
Can I just stop there, Matt? Yeah. Because you're also expecting it to go short here.
Yeah.
Or to go short there. Yeah. You're not expecting your centre forward, who's one of the best headers, to come out the box and come and get it short. And you think, well, what are you doing? Havertz is your goal scoring centre forward. What's he doing coming short there?
Yeah.
But then we saw why, because the quality of his setup was brilliant.
Yeah. So there comes a short one. What a finish this is from Eberechi Eza.
Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah, and there he is. Build the statue. Nicholas Yova. Forget Mikel Arteta, he's won you the league.
Yes, he has. And just to show the stats with regards to percentage of goals scored by a Champions team, 35% of their goals this season have been scored. But, I mean, it's way above the average for a Champions.
You know what it's like. It can be a bit boring, can't it? Working on set pieces, working on corners, but they obviously clearly put the work in.
Frustrating at times during training, isn't it? But if this is the output, this is the outcome.
Look how much difference it made to their season. If they don't do it, they don't win the league. But they've been studying it, they've been doing it all pre-season, doing it, changing it throughout the season as well. It's taken a lot of hard work to get to where they are, and they deserve so much credit for doing that.
Absolutely, and they are brilliant at set pieces. Well, that's all we've got time for in part one, but we'll come back to Generation XG, where we're going to continue talking about our new Premier League challenge, Premier League champions, Arsenal. And I want to take you back to the very start, Matt. I want to ask you about this first ever team that Mikel Arteta put out when he became Arsenal manager, and talk about the difference, and what he had to do and how much he had to change.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked about it, Mikel Arteta, quite extensively. He said it's been a project, it's been a process, trust the process. When he took over in December 2019, this was the 11 he selected away at Bournemouth. It's unrecognisable now, the team, isn't it, that's playing now. You look at some of the individuals, there's clearly a clash of personalities with Mikel Arteta and some of the personnel in this team. And he immediately recognised that he needed to change it. He needed to change the culture. He needed to change the players. He needed to change lots of things at the football club to take them in the right direction. And he quickly got rid of a few big-name players. Clearly a clash with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, for instance, and he wanted him out the door. There was one or two Arsenal fans who were questioning his method, questioning his decision-making by losing someone of his quality. He felt he needed to do that at that time. So, I mean, it's totally unrecognisable now, Leroy, isn't it, to where it was, what, 6.5 years ago?
Apart from this guy.
Well, well, even there.
Who now plays here.
Exactly that. You know, he was playing Saka at left-back and he recognised straight away out the talent he's got going forward, and he's now picks him at right wing.
Well, there were superstars in the side. Look, Aubameyang, Ozil, they were superstars. Ozil, having come from Real Madrid, wanted to play how Ozil wanted to play. And that's how he had such a great career, but it didn't suit Mikel Arteta and even Xhaka. And now we see him at Sunderland doing absolutely brilliant. Having these problems at Arsenal. He had a really tough relationship with the Arsenal fans, and Arteta had to deal with all of that. And that's why I come back to giving him time. You know, time was so important to him, and he bought time. You know, obviously by winning that FA Cup, that bought him time. But he needed to totally restructure this squad for him to start challenging, not even win the Premier, to start challenging. And obviously to eventually win that.
Well, let's see some of the major signings that he had to make in and out, and talk about the price that they paid, the importance of some of those signings. I mean,
Declan Rice is the one that stands out, top of the tree, £100 million. I mean, he would, walk into any other team. In the Premier League, you could even say world football, couldn't you? Declan Rice. He's been the driving force. He hasn't worn the armband this season, but he's the one that's driven them forwards. I think this summer's recruitment, or last summer's recruitment, should I say, was really key. I think he spent 250 million. You look at those four players that came in. Eza, Zubimendi, Gyökeres. Everyone said he needed a number 9. He brought Gyökeres in. He's maybe not scored as many as maybe we anticipated. 14 Premier League goals, I think he's got at the end. 21 goals in total. He's over 20 goals. That's not bad. Madueke's been a really good replacement on the right-hand side when Saka hasn't been fit, which has been a bit this season as well. So I think the recruitment in the summer was really crucial. But the one that, for me, the one that's got them over the line is Declan Rice at the top.
You're absolutely right, and you look at all the ins, but you have to look at the outs as well, because in recruitment,
I think they're good prices.
They're good prices and no regrets. Well. Look, these are all good players. There's no doubt about it. They're all good players. But no regrets. You're not thinking, if we kept Nketiah, which happens in recruitment. If we kept Granit Xhaka also went to Germany, did brilliant. But you look at the midfield there now. So that's so important, getting people out as well.
Good profit on the books. When you think about some of the younger ones who've come through your system that look really good on the balance books, Smith Rowe, Willock, Nketiah, etc.
Yeah, but the one who's at the very top of the list is the one I consider to be certainly Arsenal's best player, most influential player, potentially should have won the Premier League Player of the Season.
For me,
Declan Rice. I think he does it all. I really do. I think he attacks the ball well. I think he defends really well. I think he's a man for all occasion. You see on this moment, he's in an attacking position. Suddenly his team lose the ball. They're actually exposed out of positions. Look how quickly he can cover the ground and get back. But not only that, he actually wants to make tackles and he wants to affect the game. Look at his reaction. He's really caught up in that moment. And you need that kind of player who... The Premier League has become so fast and furious. I mean, look at the speed at which he's just been able to change direction there, and now he's driving forward with the ball.
You two, both midfield players, a simple question. How difficult is it to play against someone like that who can do absolutely everything?
I get asked a lot, who are the most difficult players that you played against in the Premier League? And I played in the era, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, Gerrard, Lampard, etc. I always think Gerrard probably was the hardest to play against because he was a box-to-box midfielder in the same mould as
I would say they're similar. I think Declan Rice doesn't strike a ball like
he's not going to score as many as
Gerrard,
Steven Gerrard. He's never going to score as many as Steven Gerrard, Declan Rice. But he was a box-to-box midfielder. Frank Lampard was an attacking midfield player. didn't necessarily track you all the way back defensively. Roy Keane was more of a, I think, and Vieira were probably more sixes, if you like, holding midfield players that tried to dictate the game.
Yeah. But this shows, I mean, he can do it all. We just saw an assist that he did brilliantly. We've just seen his goal, which again was a crucial moment in the season to go and win that game. And I think whenever Arsenal have been under pressure or their backs have been against the wall, this guy stepped up, took the ball, drove the team forward. Yeah. And his numbers back it up.
Yeah, they do. I mean, in Premier League this season, for Arsenal, 36 appearances, that's third. Minutes second on that. Assists, he's had 5, third. Chances created, number 1. I mean, I think set pieces, he takes corners. So delivery, we talk about delivery, though, it's on the money. Tackles, he's first. Interception, second. Possession, 1 for 8. Look, the numbers, he's brilliant without the ball. I think there's still... people used to say to me, oh, Declan Rice, what's his best position? Is he a centre-half at West Ham? Holding midfield player, release him. He's a number 8. He can do it all.
Absolutely.
Let him go and play box to box, because that's where his strength is.
And he's a leader as well, which is key. When they lost to Man City, he's the one who came out and said, look, it's not done yet. It's not done yet. They just lost the game. He's not even got back in the dressing room. You know, the disappointment for that, for Arsenal fans. But he's already saying that out on the pitch, it's not done yet. And he was absolutely right. Because that in that moment, that's when you find your leaders. Not when you're winning games, it's when you lose. And that's when you found out what this guy was all about.
He did, but, I mean, just to show his variation that he covers all different areas of the midfield job, which is what used to have to be the case, wasn't it, before we sort of got pigeonholed into attacking midfielder and defensive midfielder. He can do everything. There's not many players about now that create the most chances and have the most tackles and win the ball back the most.
I say he's an 8. That's why I say he's an 8, because I don't think you can hold the reins on him too much. I think you're taking away from his game. If you say to him, you're just going to sit there, you're going to defend, you're going to protect your 2 centre-backs, you're taking away from his game. He's got so much energy. So much energy. You've got to let him go.
Well, one thing he does with his energy is help his team cover a lot of distance. And only 3 teams this season have actually outran Arsenal in a game. So when people say it's possession and it's keep the ball, and I think ultimately go and actually work harder than the opposition to start with.
Foremost.
And they've done that.
And it's measurable as well. Yeah, absolutely measurable. And they will be looking at these stats, and the Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard, they'll all be looking at the stats thinking, how far did we run? And then that's your basis, that's your foundation to go and win games. If you don't run, you can't do anything. And they've done it better than anybody
this season.
Basic.
Sounds quite basic, though, doesn't it?
It's a running game.
Run more than the opposition and you'll get results. I mean, and that's what they... look, one of them was yesterday, actually, as well, that Crystal Palace outran Arsenal. And yesterday,
in that game,
and it was done. It was done anyway.
They also were outran by those 2 teams as well. Once out of the 2 fixtures that they had.
And that's incredible considering all the competitions they've been in. They've been in 4 and got to finals, semi-finals. So physically, they've been absolutely incredible.
Well, let's move on to talk about another impressive part of Arsenal's team, which is their wingers and their variation, and also the fact that they've got multiple people to play and come on and make a difference. They've got real depth in that area, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. And you know what? Sometimes, it's a difficult position because you're not always going to be successful. You've got Saka here at the moment. But I think an hour, for a wide player is great. If you want to go on in the season, you're looking at an hour now, and then to change it up to bring on first. And Arsenal have been able to do that with the options that they've had. Madueke's been brilliant. At the start of the season, outstanding when Saka was injured. Then he's got injured. Saka's come back. Well, they've just backed each other up.
Last season, I think Saka did get injured in about March or April time. They got injured in that area, and they didn't have anyone to come in. They were stretched. They had Martinelli. They had Trossard trying to do bits, but I think that the addition of those signings that we just highlighted before gave them a real opportunity to just freshen things up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Trossard's come up with some really big moments as well off the left-hand side. It's funny because Martinelli actually on the left-hand side has only scored 1 Premier League goal all season. That came in the 93rd minute against Man City and got them a point. But Trossard on that left-hand side has been more potent, I think, in terms of the Premier League goals.
Well, I have to say that I think that they're just more potent down this right-hand side in terms of being creative. And Trossard, look, his strength is just arriving in the box.
He comes inside,
gets his goals off. So the balance has been absolutely right there. The width has been on this right-hand side, and it's usually come from this area. I mean, it's a really clever finish from Saka on this occasion.
Yeah, outstanding. Just to show what you just mentioned there, Leroy, the side of the pitch that they do enjoy attacking down the most is quite evident.
Yeah, and I mean, if you had two wingers, you usually have one winger who's stood there outside watching while that ball's going across. But because they know, they're all on the same wavelength. When that ball goes to the right-hand side, then the likes of Timber and White supplement it brilliantly. And it just means that, you know, from this area of the pitch, Trossard has got into those areas. But the other thing is Calafiori, when he's played left-back, he's also got into the box as well.
I was about to say, of the left-backs, Calafiori's the one probably that does that the best, doesn't he?
Exactly.
He gets it, you know, Nico O'Reilly style, if you like, that left-back going into a number 10 position. I think Calafiori does that so well. But down that right-hand side, particularly when Bukayo Saka plays, I mean, I think he's such a talent, such a player that that's where they have been the most dangerous this season.
Yeah, I also wanted to talk about, you know, Arsenal's certainly best winger. I still feel he's their best winger because he's been ever-present since Mikel Arteta signed. He's the player that is still there, and that's the breakdown of his numbers. It's very impressive.
It is very impressive, and I thought a big turning point is when he signed that 5-year contract just only a couple of months ago. I thought that was really clever to say, well, our best player is staying with us. He believes in what we're doing, and that means that they're building around him. Everything is around Bukayo Saka, and I think exactly the right. I know we talked about Declan Rice, but he's a guy who's been at Arsenal since day one, started at left back, as we've shown. He's a local guy, knows what the club's all about, and he's going to be there for a long time, and that suggests that Arsenal are going to be challenging for the titles.
A goal or an assist pretty much every other game, which is impressive.
Pretty good record.
But just touch on that. Are Arsenal, or can Arsenal dominate now, moving forward in the same way Manchester City did with the titles on the run?
I'm not sure. Look, Man City are going nowhere. I know Pep Guardiola's going, but they'll still be strong. Chelsea will be strong, I think. Alonso in charge, and they're not going to stop spending money, are they? Chelsea, Man United will be stronger. I know in Europe next season, people are saying that maybe the extra games will hinder them a little bit, but I think they're in for a big summer in terms of recruitment. Liverpool, their recruitment last summer was huge. It's taken a while for them to really settle, hasn't it? I think that some of those players, they'll be better next season. Look, if they're not going to win 4. I don't think they'll win 4 Premier League titles in a row like we saw Man City do.
What I will say about Mikel Arteta, I think he's got a thing where he wants to do it in style. Because the way they challenged for the Premier League title, the previous 3 seasons, they wanted to outplay.
You want him to be more expansive now?
I think he wants to be more expansive.
Right, okay.
I think he's found a way of winning it, and I think now that will give him the freedom to say, OK, now let's go and do it with a little bit more style and try and control games a bit more with the ball, because that's what Mikel Arteta is all about.
To the Premier League show. Yes, Arsenal are champions for the first time in 22 years, and now they are targeting a first ever Champions League title. They're facing PSG in the final on Saturday. Kevin, look, all the noise that was around Arsenal, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I never said that. But they blocked it all out. And they've got over the line, and they stuck to their plan, didn't they?
Yeah, and, you know, they've got to be given credit, the board, for that, you know, to sticking with Arteta. He's changed and revamped the whole club since he's gone in. You know, he got rid of, shall we call, the bad eggs and sent them packing, got rid of some big characters and big names. So you've got to, you know, sort of think that's, you know, that's because that's big. And they're big decisions, but what he's done is he built a squad over the last few years, and you know, they've backed him with money and big money. But he's got the recruitment really right, and that's why they've ended up being Premier League champions this year. And it's just interesting, I was just saying off air there, where Declan, once they lost that time at Man City, and everyone thought it, you know, the pendulum had swung their way. He's on the pitch saying to everybody, it's not done yet, it's not done yet. And that was the belief of what we knew, well, I know what Declan's got, but also what Mickey would have instilled in that squad, it's not done yet. So, you know, this way, incredible for him. I'm delighted for Dec more than anything, I must admit, because, you know, he was a massive part of us being successful at West Ham, being part of it and seeing him up close and personal. He for me was the player of the season for what he's done for Arsenal. You know, but he can be incredibly proud, and he's a great lad, and great family around him, great people around him, so delighted for him.
Actually, we saw the footage of him as well at the end of the game, when he heard that West Ham had been relegated, and his reaction to that, you know, he was visibly really disappointed, and that just kind of shows what a good guy he is.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's because West Ham give him the opportunity and the chance, and he'll never forget that, just because he's like that. You know, he's got all his family around him, really, you know, close, very low key. Although he's this superstar, you know, when you see him and you meet him, you just think he's a normal lad off the street, because no airs and graces about him. Everything's just very, very grounded, and that's why he's turned out, and that's why there's a lot of people who, you know, speak very highly of him, and rightly so. But he would, yeah, as we all were. You know, people who've been, you know, I think about 14 years since we brought them back up. I hope we can do what we done last time when I joined went from Newcastle to the Championship, and they can jump right back up. But as I said, recruitment's going to be the key now. Yeah.
I know when Arsenal got West Ham, the Arsenal fans think that they got him on the cheap. Declan Rice.
We got him half price.
When you were at West Ham and you heard, there's £100 million, were you thinking, oh, that's a lot of money, or were you thinking that's about right?
No, I was thinking we should get more. Yeah. We was. I remember the boss walking in, David, going, it's 105, but we should have got 150. You know, 150, I think it would have been probably fair at that time. And it's only gone to show because, you know, he's driven that squad and that team and been part of it. And you see him with England now. We all knew, you know, how much of a, you know, proper player we had in the building at West Ham, and how lucky we was to be working with this lad day in, day out. So, yeah, I'm absolutely delighted for him and for all his family and the people around him, because they work so hard, and you know, he does it right, does everything right, which is great. And he's such a lovely, humble lad, which is even better when you've got someone of his presence and his what I think is going to be another top player. And as I always say, he's the closest one I've ever seen to Steven Gerrard, up close and personal. And I count Steven as the best, one of the best in the Premier League era.
It seems like he's also got such an influence both on the pitch and off it as well. He's just so well liked, isn't he? Dave, look, in terms of going forward, where do they need to strengthen?
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because last summer Arsenal did a lot of their kind of bulking out of the squad. They increased the squad depth a lot. They've needed that squad depth this season. But they've got strength in every single position. There's only one area that you can kind of think, well, maybe they would upgrade in that position, and that's the left wing. I think right now they've got options there in Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. Trossard's been brilliant this season. But if they are going to go to another level, maybe that is a position that they're looking at. But it's going to cost a lot of money to upgrade on those players. And it also means that they're going to have to move players on as well, because I don't think they'll be able to, say, spend £100 million and not recoup some of that this summer. There will have to be ins and outs for Arsenal. But it's such a great squad that it only just needs an extra sprinkle, and that's one to take them to the next level.
Is that what you think? Just a few tweaks, maybe?
Yeah, I think that he's got a spot on. I think Mikel Arteta will be looking at it, or Mikel Arteta, I should say. He'll be looking at it now, and he'll be thinking, right, OK, as they've just said then, he'll be thinking, right, where can I get better, and what can we do, and how can we manoeuvre people? I think he's spot on there. I think the left-hand side is probably the side where you know, Martinelli, does he move Martinelli on, you know, and bring someone in and use that money, you know, because he's probably a better asset than Trossard, and Trossard be the understudy. You never know, but when you're at the top end of the game and when you are number one in the Premier League, everyone's coming for you and hunting for you next year. So you've got to make sure that you get them right, and you've got to be a bit cutthroat. And I'm sure he's got it. He's shown that in the past. You know, as he's rebuilt Arsenal, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, culture. You know, you can see that, the environment, what he expects, what you know, the respect he's got for the players, and also what he has for his players as well. So yeah, I'm delighted for him as well. But yeah, I believe that's probably the one position where he could go out and really strengthen it, and that would push them up another notch, I think.
Yeah.
Do you fancy their chances against PSG on Saturday?
Why not? Why not? You know, listen, you know, last year, you know, them great nights against Madrid and stuff like that. He's got some real big players there who've had some big moments this year. They've got a fantastic back four, you know, a real top-class goalkeeper. It's just whether he can keep them quiet. I don't envisage a Bayern first leg. I envisage it'll be a bit more cagey and a bit more pragmatic. But if anyone can do it and beat PSG, it's certainly them, and I'll certainly be rooting for them, obviously, because I've got the love for Deck. You know, no.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. OK, look, we have